Hey guys, what's up? Today I have a super exciting video because if you follow me on Instagram, you know how much I love plants. So today's video is gonna be a quick little care tip on plants. So let's get started. Disclaimer, I am no plant expert. This is from my personal experience, and I just want to share with you some little tips if you are getting or thinking about bringing a plant home, or you've brought a plant home and aren't quite sure what to do next, or if you're thinking about buying a plant, maybe what to look for. So let's just get started. Some really basic stuff that I did. So as you saw, I have a lot of plants, and this isn't even all of them. I have some upstairs, I have some in my office, I have some in my living room that I didn't show you. So I have a lot of plants. So this is just from my experience. I am no plant expert, but I want to share with you, oh my God, there's a little hummingbird just hovering. The first thing is where to buy plants. And you're going to find plants, you probably already know where to buy them, but the best place to look is your local plant nursery, garden center, and honestly, you can find plants almost anywhere now, like pharmacies, grocery stores, hardware stores. And when I first bought my plant that is now pushing 7 years, I bought it at a grocery store, and it was on my first day of teaching. I was a high school teacher, and I wanted to bring a plant into my classroom. So I went into my grocery store at 6:30 in the morning and picked up this little viney thing I didn't know anything about and put it in my classroom. And this plant has been through so many moves and different locations, and I think I finally found a perfect place for her, and she's thriving. So I'm gonna show you what she looks like here. So this is a pothos, and I got her at a grocery store. You can get you can get most plants at a grocery store, hardware store, like I mentioned, for pretty inexpensive. So you don't have to buy a really expensive plant to get started. And I kind of prefer the less expensive plants because they're probably going to be easier to take care of in my experience. And when you are there and you are physically looking at plants, here's what you should look for. So the plants are going to be in a pot, or they're going to be wrapped in some sort of decorative wrapper, and inside of it will be the actual nursery pot of your plant. So what you want to do is first is poke your finger in the soil and see how wet it is. Maybe ask how often they're watering it. And then what you want to do is pull it out of the pot or container and look. Really take the time to check out your plant. Make sure that there are no bugs in there, that the plant isn't rotting. And by rotting, I mean look at the bottom. So if you're getting it from like a, I don't know, grocery store, hardware store, they most likely will not know how to water the plants. They just water them like maybe every 3 days and all of them get water. And sometimes they can sit in water. And when they sit in water, that can lead to root rot, and you do not want that. That is like the end of your plant, and you don't want to bring a plant home that has root rot. So what you want to do is look at the bottom and make sure that the roots are not brown or gooey or sticky in any way. It's okay if they're wet, maybe they just got watered. And so keep that in mind. And then you want to look in here. I'm going to see if, well, let me just get you a little closer. So what you want to do is look at the soil, make sure that there are no bugs. I usually like to move the soil around, and this plant in particular is probably a bad example because it's supposed to be damp at all times, so the soil is probably not going to move as how I want to show you, but you get the idea. Just move the soil around, make sure that nothing like flies or like pops out of the soil, and then look at the base of your plant and make sure that it is nice and clean. And also look at the leaves, make sure that they are clean, that they don't have any little white bugs on them. And don't forget to look under the leaves, make sure that they are nice and clean. So if all that checks out, like, you know, it's all clean, there's no root rot, then you can take your baby home. So you've brought your baby home, and you probably want to put it in a nicer pot right away, something that already matches your aesthetic, or just a better pot than a black plastic pot. And I want to advise you not to do that. Don't repot your plant when you come home. Your plant needs time to acclimate to your home and the temperatures and humidity levels of your home. So please don't touch your plant. Okay? Okay, don't touch it. Don't touch it. You may want to also check the little care tag that comes with the plant. It tells you what kind of plant it is and how to take care of it. Most plants have that, but some of them actually will have a little tag that says tropical plant with like a very generic instruction, and it's annoying because they're not all the same. So what you can do is download a free app, which I have here, and just take a picture of your plant if it doesn't have the care tag, and that app will show you what to do and how to take care of it. Super, super easy. So you brought it home, you're gonna leave it in your pot. You can put it in a nice cover pot like this so it looks a little better. And you want to find out what is the best lighting for your plant. If it doesn't have the care tag, look at the app, see if it's indirect light. Most of the plants are indirect light. Some are really great for, you know, shaded areas. So figure out what lighting your plants or your plant needs. And then I would say, do not water your plant right away. Don't do it. Don't do it. Overwatering is like the number one plant killer. Don't do it. I would recommend, depending on the plant, to let your plant dry out a little bit before you water it. And if you're like, well, what does that mean? This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna grab your plant and you're going to use your finger. It's like the best way. I have moisture meters and I feel like they're not as trustworthy as your finger. And you're gonna put it in your pot about like 2 inches down, and if your finger comes out dry, then it's time to water, and if it's not, leave it. Leave it. Leave it, seriously. If your finger is dry, then you can water it. And you're probably wondering, well, how much is enough, or too little, or too much? Like, how much do I water my plants? Okay, both my kids just got up, so excuse the noise. When it comes to watering your plant, I harp on not overwatering, and you may be unsure how much water is enough. What you want to do is water it slowly. Give it a little water, and if it starts to drain through the drainage holes, that's awesome. You've watered it enough. And if the water doesn't drain out the bottom, then just add a little bit more. But I would add a little bit of water, wait, add a little bit of water and wait. Now, if you've already potted your plant in a pot that does not have any drainage, okay, go slow. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I have a couple plants of mine that do not have drainage, and I am shocked that they are doing so well. If your plant doesn't have drainage, it's okay. What you want to do is water it and then just tilt the plant over and let the excess water drain out. That's it. So don't overthink the watering part of it. Just use your finger and go from there. So quick recap before I move forward. I just don't want to forget anything. So we've talked about what to look for when you're picking out a plant at a store, where to get your plants, how to water them, how to figure out how much light they need. I recommend, again, I am not a plant expert, but please leave your plants in their pot for a little while until they acclimate to your home. But I would recommend that you hold off on repotting your plant unless you absolutely have to, and we can talk about why you would in another video. I just wanted to cover some basics if you are thinking about getting a plant, or you brought one home and are unsure what to do and how to water it and stuff like that. I am planning on doing more videos about plants and doing continuing this plant series on this channel, so stick around for that. So like always, I appreciate you guys so much, and please give this a thumbs up if you love plants or are getting into plants. Plants are awesome. I love them. You can tell by my excitement. And I'm going to continue doing these little plant series on here, so stick around for those. If you have any questions about plants, leave them in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to answer them or make a video showing you, because I love plants and I have quite the variety. And again, I'm not an expert, but I love them, and I think that I've kind of figured out what works for some and what doesn't for others, and what are good to have indoors and what lighting and whatnot, and yeah, just stuff like that. So I'll catch you guys very soon in the next video. Bye guys.